Here to perform The Weight by the band are Josh and Katie, the Night Train Owls. Take it away, guys.
Old Dan of Nazareth was feeling about 8:30. Just need a place where I can lay my head. Hey, mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? Just ran and shook my head and no was all he said. Take a load off, Fanny. Take a load for free. Take a load off, Fanny. Put the load right on me. In my bag, I went looking for a place to hide. When I saw Carmen and the devil walking side by side, I said, hey Carmen, come on, let's go downtown. She said, I gotta go, but my friend can stick around. Take a load off, Fanny. Take a load for free. Take a load off, Fanny. Put the load right on me. Go down this Moses, there's nothing that you can say. It's just a new day, little another judgment day. Well, Luke, my friend, what about your Annie? Just told me to take me and go when I leave company. Take a load off, Fanny. Take a load for free. Take a load off, Fanny. Put the load right on me. Crazy Chester followed me, and he called me in the phone. He said I would fish your ass. He could take on Jack, my dog. He said, oh, wait a minute, Chester, you know I'm a peaceful man. He said, that's okay, boy, just feed him whenever you can. Take a load off, Fanny. Take a load for free. Take a load off, Fanny. Put the load right on me. Get your cannonball now to take me on down the line. My bag is sinking low, and I do believe it's time. Getting back to Miss Katie, you know she the only one who sent me here with her regards for everyone. Take a load off, Fanny. Take a load for free. Take a load off, Fanny. Put the load right on me.
That's awesome, you guys. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What's up, Vinyl Community? Your boy Chris coming at you live as always from the Man Cave. Josh, Kate, both halves of the Night Train Owls, The Weight by the band. All-time classic song. If you don't know that song, you're probably on the wrong channel right now. You probably should log off right now and go like look at Etsy or something. So that would be good, or Tinder. I mean, because everybody's lonely right now. That wrong out there. There's a lot of lonely people. So who knows? Just be careful on who's profile. Check for the Adams.
He does love Etsy.
Great. Your wife loves Etsy too.
Dude, guys, half of my room is from Etsy. I don't know if you can see any of that. Yeah, almost all of that is from Etsy. So I'm making that joke. I made that joke, but immediately it's like, are you kidding me? I'm the last heterosexual male in the world that should be making a joke about Etsy. 85% of my decoration in this room or whatever is from Etsy. But anyway, what's up, guys? It's great to see you guys. Know you're long-term friends of mine. For those of you who don't know, Josh and Kate are great friends of mine. I've known them for many years. I've known Kate even longer than I've known Josh. And so it's been great. You guys have seen Josh on my channel before. He was on my Black Friday RSD video, which he and I just probably spent a little bit too much money, drank a little bit too much beer, but had a bit too much good time. And I just wish it could have lasted longer. But anyway, so I got you guys on. And since we just saw you guys perform, I would love, I know the answer, obviously, but let's just assume that I've never met you guys before ever. I'll just proceed with the rest of the interview that way. So how long have you guys been performing together? When did you guys meet? That whole thing.
We've been performing together as long as we've been dating, actually. So back in 2013.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it all started when I knew her sister, who was the choir director at my church. And funny fact, I actually had a crush on her sister. So at the time, I thought
you and every other guy I knew.
Yeah, but yeah, so
awkward.
But yeah, I got to know her, and like I just thought she was just a cool person. I didn't want to she was already, I think, dating somebody at that time. But she was just like a really cool person, talking about her sister. And we got to hung out at we actually got to perform for my pastor's Easter play that they did. And every night after the play ended, we'd go to the local truck stop Denny's, like right down the road. And one night,
it was the last performance you guys had. Yeah. I met you guys at the Denny's afterwards. Yeah. And we sat next to each other and started talking. And a couple of days later, when he asked me on Facebook if I wanted to go get something to eat sometime, I had to ask my sister if he was asking me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the story, and every time I hear it, it's still funny to me.
Yeah. And it was like, in the first date, it was she was expecting. I guess you were expecting a lot. You were expecting a kiss. I know that.
Yeah, and you made me wait all damn night.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
I hear you,
and I did wait to the end of the night because I'm a Southern gentleman.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah, I was also. There's a little bit of nerves and a little bit of what, I'm going to let this whole thing marinate a little bit.
Right.
And I kissed her by the end of the night, and I like to think that there were fireworks. Yeah, there were fireworks. So. And that's how this whole thing blossomed. And then
Roman candles, really.
Roman candles, yeah.
But I mean, it was enough. She's sitting to you, so hey.
Or as Joe Dierte would say, sparkling bungholes and whistle doos and skeeter do's, skeeter don'ts. You're gonna have that. You're gonna sell a fireworks stand and say you don't have any zippity doo-dahs, no whistle doos. Sorry, life's a garden. You got to dig it, folks.
That's right. But yeah. As many times as I've heard that story, I still love it. It's just great. Is he asking me out? Yeah.
You've never been asked out before. Who would have known?
Not like bluntly like that. Things just kind of always just sort of happened.
Right.
I've never had somebody like just ask me out.
Yeah, well, Ashley kind of basically said the same thing. My wife, Ashley, for those of you guys who've never heard my wife's name, which, of course, if you've been watching me long enough, you have. But had basically said the same thing because I was direct. I just came right out. Yeah, I was like, hey, do you want to go out sometime and everything like that. And so it was basically the same thing. I was old enough to where I was past the bullshit. I wasn't trying to be around the bush anymore. I knew what I wanted. Yeah. So anyway, so it worked out great for all parties involved here in that sense.
And you two hit it off as soon as you met, right?
Yeah.
It's a bromance that has yet to end, and I hope it never does.
Yeah, it won't. No, we're going out notebook style, bitch. Notebooks.
Yeah. we'll be in bed together and just like just.
And Ashley and I will be knitting in the other room.
Yeah, shaking their heads and rolling their eyes.
But I can honestly say there's
about 30,432 cats surrounding me.
But I can honestly say there's one thing that we have that notebook couple do not have.
Multiple dicks?
Well, yeah, of course that. But what I mean is, what do you want? What do you want? I think we know exactly what each other wants. So,
great music, beer, and good laughs.
Yes.
And movies. Yeah.
Movies and great food.
Yeah. That's sure. Yeah, it's not very hard at all. This relationship is so easy, Josh.
Ladies out there listening, this is what's up. Just got to say.
What's up?
Yeah.
It's so great to see you guys. So for anybody who has become accustomed to subscribing and following along with my channel, they know I drink beer throughout. And so it's a big part of all mine. So Josh, Katie, will you guys let my fine subscribers know what it is you're sipping on tonight?
You want to go ahead and show yours?
Yeah, so mine is from Noda. It's a Coco Loco Porter, which there's going to be a lot of glare on here, so it's going to be a little difficult to see. But I like my beers to be either very, very dark or very fruity. So not exactly the way that I like my men, but
Well, I'm slightly fruity.
You're more than slightly, sweetheart.
But yeah, my drink is a local South Carolina establishment. It's really, I never heard of them until I went into one of my local O'Darby's in Rock Hill. It's 13 Stripes Brewery Sea of Liberty IPA. And I really love their art styles. It's like it's got
a beautiful label on it. It looks like it's a painted
ship like underwater, but a lot of their cans look like it's American Revolution style art, and it's just gorgeous. But yeah, they're from Taylor's, South Carolina, 13 Stripes Brewery. So yeah, I love my IPAs. Not to discredit, stouts. I love my stouts. I'm an equal opportunist. I'm willing to try anything once, and if this good, I'm going to try it more than once.
Be careful about saying I'm willing to try anything once at a Southern truck stop late at night. But other than that, you're good.
I mean, he's had to be careful saying that to me because I took it literally.
Actually, if I ever go to a truck stop and there is a woman of ill repute there, and she says,
you're more likely to run into a man of ill repute. Just saying.
Well, anyway, he's like, it's $50 for anything. I was like, can you cut hair?
hey, I can cut your hair.
Right? So, yeah, so.
I cut his hair before. I cut my own hair.
She almost Vincent Van Gogh'd me.
Did not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it could have been worse. She could have Lorena Bobbitt you. I mean, it could have been worse. I mean,
She did trim my beard. She trimmed my beard very well. So
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my beard's probably a little shorter than the last time you saw as well.
Yeah, you had you're less modest Yahoo here. So
right. Well, I mean, I went off to the mountains during that Rona quarantine. I wrote my manifesto.
Yeah.
It's coming out later this year. It's going to drop alongside my avant-garde student video, which, you know, like 3 people will download. My parents will be very proud. And so, yeah, that's going to be like dropping on like Snapchat.
So would you say that the revolution was successful with you and Yoko Ono?
I would say that the revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. That's what I say. Oh, man. God, I love you guys. I miss you so much.
I love you too.
It's great to have you on. And Josh, tell everybody about that beautiful shirt that you're wearing.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know if this is backwards on the Zoom or not, but it says, vinyl isn't going anywhere. It's not, folks. It's too big to fail. Too big to fail, folks. Huge.
And where's it from?
This shirt is from one of the greatest record stores in the area, probably of all time. Noble Records in Matthews, North Carolina. Like I can't say enough about this place. I actually just ordered a record from Dylan here recently. It's the Tom Petty Wildflowers.
Do you have it close by you?
I do not. I just ordered it, and it should be coming shortly.
Well, I was going to say, if you've got it, show it. Okay, cool.
Well, I've got many records that I will show that I've gotten from Noble Records that I really love that I've gotten from.
And Dylan, if you're watching, just so you know, I want a raise for this plug. Just so you know, I want a raise for this plug. Anyway.
Money.
Yeah. All right, anyway. All right.
Oh, man.
So, ventured out today during this entire Rona quarantine, if you will. Been trying to support the local businesses, been trying to keep all of these people going because, guys, you know, for everybody watching, I know the 2 people that are sharing this video with me understand this. When all of this shit blows over, when everything does get back to normal, you're going to still want these people to be a part of your lives. I mean, that's just the thing. So let's keep them going. Let's keep them paid. Let's keep these restaurants open. Let's keep any shop that you can keep open. Let's keep them all open. And I don't want to spend this entire video talking too much about the coronavirus because I want it to be some escapism for some people. But I do want to ask you guys how you've been holding up during the whole quarantine period and how everything's gone, the precautions that you've taken, some of the local businesses that you supported during the time, and what you guys have been doing to do your part in helping to support the local businesses.
Well, we've been quarantining a lot, so there's that. But as far as local businesses, you know, I want to make sure that whenever I go to a place that sells beer, that I'm actually supporting either a North Carolina or South Carolina establishment.
We do that a lot anyway,
Yeah.
but we're more aware of it now.
We're more aware of it now. So that's
Is the Main Street Bottle Shop in Rock Hill still open?
the Main Street Bottle Shop is still open. And a good point about that. The Main Street Bottle Shop are only selling North Carolina and South Carolina establishments. They hold off on other areas because they want to, you know, support the local businesses, and I can appreciate that.
It's a great move.
That's one way to, you know, keep the economy going is to shop local like that. That's one thing that I've always believed in.
And we've been supporting our local restaurants. We actually just ate at the Mexican restaurant in Richburg, Sabor Latino.
Yes.
It's changed management a couple of times, but
the food's still good.
The food is awesome.
Right.
Service is great. The people are nice. We've been eating at the Country Omelet because their cheeseburgers are amazing.
Absolutely.
And if the front porch opens back up again, we're getting some chicken and dumplings.
Oh yeah, got to get those chicken and dumplings.
Ash and I call them every other day just to see, hey, are you back? If somebody always answers the phone,
Yep.
and somebody's always polite and like, oh no, we're not back open yet, but we will be. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to keep checking. We don't mean to get on your nerves. We just want to support you.
Yeah, they've been there because they're doing renovations. They're finally fixing up some parts of the building because it was a house before the interstate came through. Like it was actually someone's house. But they're still holding up okay, which is good. They're friends with my grandmother and my family. And we've also been supporting our local farms. Cotton Hills Farm has a market in Chester, and their Richburg roadside stand just opened up, which is awesome. Because we've been doing curbside pickup at the Chester location, but now we can actually go and pick out our own stuff at the roadside stand because it's open air.
It's been great.
Aside from local businesses, I do like of course your whole program is about, you know, records and supporting record stores. There is a record store in Pennsylvania that I order from called Siren Records. Really cool establishment like that. Like I ordered them through Discogs. So there's this record, if you can see without the glare. It's Hawkwind's Space Ritual. It's a cool space rock album. It's actually a live album, and man, it's like one awesome trip. So
it's a kick-ass album cover too. It's great stuff.
About the cat noise.
Yeah, our cats are rustling around. So.
Oh, they're fine. You'd be amazed at how many people in the vinyl community have cats, so it's all good. Josh, I don't know if you should look him up. Steve Carlson, if you're watching, vinyl community Steve Carlson, his cat makes a drop in on every single one of his videos, usually right here at his face. So everybody's more than familiar with his cat. So Kate, I know you would definitely appreciate that.
If you follow our Instagram accounts, not only do we run at Take Me to Birch, and her Instagram account is at the Kitty Katie, but we also run the Night Train Owls Instagram, but we also run X-Men cats, because all our cats are named after X-Men characters. So,
but you guys are totally not social media whores, though. There's no chance.
No.
We
no way.
It's not like that.
It's not like that. We just
I do a lot of marketing for work, and you know, I honestly started the one for the cats so that I could learn how to use Instagram, because a lot of the ones that I saw that I really liked were pet ones. So I would do that to play with like how many hashtags is too many hashtags, and like commenting.
I use an infinite amount of hashtags. I can't judge anybody. For you guys, I cannot judge anybody. I use an infinite amount. Now I've been had Instagram stop my post before and be like too many characters, and it's just been over the hashtags. I guess I could take
because I always sometimes forget is there there's a hashtag that I'm missing. I just know it.
But there is a hashtag limit. You can only have so many.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been hit on that before.
Yeah.
But to the point of supporting the local businesses and whatnot, my wife and myself have obviously been making our efforts. We've been stopping by. The rule that I've kind of tried to set for us is we've been getting takeout from restaurants with 3 locations or less. That being because you can be a small business and still have 2 or 3 locations if you're doing well enough in your community, as you guys know, like Midwood or something like that. You know, they're just a Viva Chicken. They're just successful enough where they have multiple locations. So we've hit them a few times. We've hit Midwood. I got Mama Ricotta's in Charlotte tonight. It was delicious. So that's something we've been trying to do. And that's not saying that Outback Steakhouse doesn't need your support, but guys, they've got locations all over the world. They're going to be fine.
All these fast food joints, they're going to be okay.
McDonald's is going to be just fine. So that's just one of those things. So if you guys have the means and you have the time, please try to support one of these mom and pop 3 locations or less spots. Please try to do so. I know they don't have a drive-through. I understand. I get it, but they're doing curbside, almost all of them right now, guys. Most places that never did delivery before are doing it now. So please hit them up.
Not to sound like a downer or anything like that. I just hate to see, on the news. I even saw on Instagram how one record store in California went out of business because of the pandemic. And it just kills me, man. Because I know they people like that. It's either people who've been there for years or people who just got started. It's
one of the two. Yeah.
It really helps that you go out there and you support them.
You got to do something
while staying safe at the same time.
Absolutely. I'm in. So I go to Charlotte today to get the takeout from Mama Ricotta's for my wife and I. And while I'm out and about, you guys have heard me mention Lunchbox Records before. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yep.
Beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. Wonderful Charlotte.
Glorious Charlotte, North Carolina.
Absolutely. Love Lunchbox Records. It's like the first record store I ever really fell in love with, I must admit. And so I love the shop. Scott, the owner, great guy, good friend. And he had a not a Facebook. I'm not even on Facebook. He had an Instagram post about the recent Blue Note Tone Poet reissues that had just come out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was 3 of them. And I had just so happened to be waiting for my food at Mama Ricotta's. And I knew that he's been shipping out of the shop, working out of the shop, building the website out of the shop, which he's working on now. So I just happened to send him a message just on a whim. Like, we'll see if he responds before I leave Charlotte. And it was just like, hey, man, by any chance are you at the shop? And he had messaged me back and told me he was actually getting ready to head out, spend some time with his son. I'm like, okay, great, man. I was just in the area, thought I'd drop in on you or whatever. And he's like, well, are you close? I'm like, I'm close. And he totally let me come in. That was awesome. The whole, everything's perfectly clean. It's got the mask on, doing the social distancing, the whole thing. He's the only guy in the shop. And then, of course, he was nice enough to open his door, let me in, let me dig around for a little while. So, Scott at Lunchbox Records, you already know how I feel about you, man. You're my boy. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do for the North and South Carolina communities. I really appreciate you. We need our tunes, and you guys have always come in clutch. And so thank you for letting me come in today. Thank you for shooting the breeze with me. I really appreciate it, buddy. It was good to catch up with you. And hopefully the next time I see you, hopefully it'll be under different circumstances when everybody's out and about getting the records. But you guys are no doubt getting impatient. You want to see some fucking records, so I'll get some records for you. There you go. Josh,
Big deal.
Yeah, Josh was wanting to know earlier today what it was I got. Figured we'd save it for the video. So the Tone Poet releases that were new that had just come out that he had posted about. If there's any glare or whatever on your end, Josh, please let me know. But there's Money Jungle with Duke Ellington, Charlie Mingus, and Max Roach.
Oh, nice.
That's a Tone Poet reissue. Still sealed. I haven't had a chance to open anything. It's brilliant. It's a wonderful record. Of course, it's the great Duke Ellington on the keys, Charlie Mingus on the bass, and Max Roach on the sticks. And it's recorded in New York City, September 17th, 1962. It is a phenomenal record. Next up is All in My Mind by Dr. Lonnie Smith. That's on Blue Note. Tone Poet reissue. Wonderful stuff, guys. The Tone Poet reissues, if you've never heard them, then you've got to get them into your life. I'm just telling you, you really should. They're great. And something that I've not done for, I can't even tell you how I decided that I only needed one really solid copy of an album. I broke a little rule of mine today, A, to support a local record store, some more money in their pocket, and B, because I was really interested to do a side-by-side comparison. I figured this is a great album. Now's the time to test it against the big dog. And so I grabbed a Tone Poet reissue of Lee Morgan's The Cooker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, but anybody who's been watching my channel long enough, you already know, flat out, that's the original.
Boom.
Yeah, that's the original mono. That's the big dog. That's one of my prized pieces in my collection. I fucking love this record. Yeah, I fucking love this record. And it's one of my favorite jazz albums, not just jazz albums, but albums, period, of all time. And so I figured, you know what? I don't think there's any way that anything can beat, this, but why not? I can throw $30 more in Lunchbox Records' pocket, and then I can, test them out, and I can play them side by side. And to be honest with you, one of these days I might very well just give this Tone Poet to somebody. I don't know. So it's just one of them things where I supported the local record store. It's a chance for me to have a little bit of fun, do a side-by-side comparison. So, hey, why not?
Very nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to have some fun with it. And then, of course, I got a couple more. Herbie Hancock, The Prisoner.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
Yeah. During the Civil Rights Movement, or later in the Civil Rights Movement, if you will. Guys, Herbie Hancock is one of the most important musicians we've ever had in the history of America. There's no doubt about it. He's transcendent. He's done hard bop. He's done post bop. He's done bebop. He's done funk. He's done soul. He's done fusion. He's done, you name it, Herbie Hancock had his hands in it. Absolutely. And so he's just wow, he's an American treasure. Just recently, I believe, turned 80 years old and still looks younger than me. So God bless you, Herbie. Yeah, and then next up, of course, I grabbed a Blue Note 80th anniversary reissue of Fickle Sonnets by Jackie McLean. This is an album that I've always wanted to add to my collection, but I've always been looking for an original press. Hadn't been able to find one for a price I could live with just yet. But these have been high quality reissues, and so I figured, why not jump on it. So figured I'd do that. So I just wanted to show you guys some records. Josh, outside of the record that you got from the record store in Pennsylvania, anything that you've picked up recently?
Well, before the whole pandemic, before everything started really closing down, the last record store I went to was, of course, Noble. And I think I have like a few of the records up here. Yeah, I have I got this Miles at Monk in Newport.
Yes.
Album. Funny thing, I actually posted this on Instagram, and I got a comment, like a positive comment from none other than the granddaughter of Thelonious Monk. I believe her name. I hope I'm not, butchering. Sierra Monk.
I think it was Sierra Monk. I could be wrong.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. Like, not every day you get to be complimented by a living legend's descendant. So, yeah, I just thought that was so cool. And of course, I love this woman. Like, anybody who knows me knows that, I love all music. I'm very eclectic. I have a very eclectic taste. But my first love will always be country music. And I had to get me Emmylou Harris, Pieces of the Sky. It's a great album. I always like it.
Great record.
Great record. Yeah, it's the album that has Boulder to Birmingham, which is a tribute song to Graham Parsons, that's one of my probably top 10 favorite artists of all time. Like, I mean, he's influential in the genre of country rock, despite the fact that he hated the term. He always called his music the American cosmic music, which I actually like that title better.
That sounds a little cooler, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah. Country Music Hall of Fame. If you're not going to induct the man, then take his shit out of your museum.
Exactly.
Either induct him or take his shit out of your museum.
And Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, come on, you need to induct him too. If you're going to induct the Eagles, you might as well induct Graham Parsons.
Absolutely. Either do that or take your shit out of your museum. It's a disgrace. It's embarrassing. Anyway, Josh and I could talk forever on that, but we made our point. But what else you got?
Honestly, I think I got this when you were actually running the shop one day, but it's good to note about it. The Jimmy Castor Bunch.
Yeah, I recommended it to you. I told you.
Yeah, you did, and it's really cool. I really dig it.
Soul, funk, jazz. I mean, kick-ass.
It's got everything going for it. And this I actually got last time. Peter Tosh's No Nuclear War. I just wanted it for the cover alone because if you look close enough, he's wearing a gas mask.
Right.
And I was like,
amazing how relevant it is. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, no nuclear war. But yeah, little.
Yeah.
It's Peter Tosh. You can't go wrong with Peter Tosh.
For those of you unfamiliar with Peter Tosh, he played with a little-known artist by the name of Bob Marley.
Yeah, the Wailers.
So,
His biggest hit probably is called Legalize It.
Yeah. Oh, I love that album. That album is so good.
And I'm not going to get political, but come on, folks. Legalize it. Come on, South Carolina. Legalize it. We got to have something during this pandemic. Come on.
Are you kidding me, dude? The local weed man has never been as busy as he is now.
I know. Well, I can't find one.
People who never, ever, ever contemplated doing dope in their lives are like all over the phone right now. Fucking,
I mean, considering the fact that this year is 4/20/2020. Seriously, if that's not time to start it, I don't know what is.
Is it just me, or does this year feel like it's lasted 10? I don't know.
Dude. Like,
I'm so through with this year. I don't know what to do.
You preach to the choir. But yeah, like those were pretty much the last things that I found as in terms of records. Like, of course, I got this shirt. I'm supporting Dylan Dylan a lot. I do need to go to Lunchbox. I really do need it. I do want to support them because I really love Lunchbox too.
Right. Keep your eyes open on their new releases when they come in. I'll tell you what, it would be because you had asked me not too long ago about the Grand Green Nigeria and how I thought it was and whether or not you should grab it.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
That's phenomenal. You should get it.
Yeah, I really like Grand Green.
Yeah, I was there today, and they had a copy in stock, so you should you should definitely do that.
And for your viewers who don't know another thing about me, me and my wife like to go to national parks for our anniversary every year.
Josh, show everybody your matching national park tattoo. You might as well.
Oh yeah. So
you gotta do yours first.
Yep.
Get close. Get close.
Okay. So yeah, it's basically the national park symbol.
And then mine is the park after dark.
Yep.
With this is the Grand Tetons with the arm of the Milky Way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and I've always made a point to, if I'm going to go up to national park, I want to try to find like the nearest record store.
Absolutely.
So last year we went to what was it, Bowling Green, Kentucky? Yeah, Bowling Green. Yeah. So we went to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I went to two record stores. One of them, if I can't remember the name of it, saved my life. If you check my Instagram page, it'll show what they went to. But the crown jewel that I found last year in Kentucky was this RSD release
Grant Green
of Grant Green, Funkin' Prince.
Yeah,
and I listened to this, man, and good Lord, it's nice. It's really nice.
I had grabbed the RSD before you got it, and it was one of my main picks. You were with me, you remember?
Yep, I do.
Yeah, it was one of my main picks. For those of you who don't know, Josh and I are one another's date for RSD twice a year. So and unfortunately, 420 came and went without us being able to be at Record Store Day. It's been postponed to June. My best bet is it'll probably be postponed again. We're prepared for it. But we've already started laying the groundwork for an epic trip that we're going to do, Josh, Kate, for after the Rona's done had its run.
Yeah,
we're out of here.
That's a good segue. I know last time we talked about how the new RSD release date, the RSD day was going to be in June, around the same time that my Heroes Convention was. For those of you who don't know, in addition to being a vinyl collector, I am also an avid comic book enthusiast, specifically of Marvel Comics, as you can see above my record shelf. So sadly, Heroes Convention has canceled and went on to do their convention for next year. Have moved it on to next year.
Responsible on their part. I know you're bummed, but it's responsible.
Yeah, I'm crushed, but I'm also thankful that they're being responsible.
Just like I'm sports, but I'm thankful that all the leagues are being responsible.
Exactly. So. Oh man, I know you're just like watching reruns of ESPN right now. It must be terrible, dude.
Dude, I'm watching so many games I already know the outcomes of. It's insane. But
Yeah. But Kate wanted me to show you this. In addition to being, since we're talking about pop culture and everything like that, one of the proudest moments I ever had in my life was having my wife by my side and my brother and sister-in-law to meet the great Stan Lee. So that's us. That's me as Wolverine. That's me. That's my wife as Jean Grey. My brother-in-law is Cyclops, and my sister-in-law as Emma Frost. So we're the X-Men. But yeah, so 2018 was a hard year for me losing the great Stan Lee. But in addition, but to be fair, he was 95. He lived a really long life, and most people can't even say that, especially in this day and age.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
But anyway, putting comic books aside, let's continue talking about more record finds and stuff.
Absolutely. So I can't remember, the first time we ever went to a record store together. I can't remember, but I know you and I have been to more, plenty of record stores numerous times, dozens of times, if you will, together. I wish I could remember the very first time. I wish I could remember the first time we went to one together. The first thing I wish I could. It was probably Lunchbox, if I had to guess. I'm sure that's probably about right.
Yeah, 'cause we went to Lunchbox at their old location.
Yeah.
I remember I found a few things, but it was when they had their new location is when I found probably two of my favorite records in my collection. Now,
Can you get it quickly? Go ahead, do it.
I actually have them right here. I know we were singing, of course, the band earlier. And for those of you who don't know, the band is probably one of my all-time favorite bands of all time. I know most people are like, wow, that's a real original name. But, if you understand the whole, story behind it, you'll think, okay, that makes sense.
Except not really.
Yeah.
It just to me like a bunch of guys that are sitting around a room bouncing ideas off of one another. And then they're like, man, fuck it, I'm tired. Pass the blunt. We'll just call ourselves the band.
Well, but in my humble opinion, they were the band. I mean, like each member was a multi-instrumentalist. They can play more than one instrument. Majority of them could sing like a bird. I mean,
like one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Levon Helm to me, is one of the greatest, not only drummers but drummers/singers. I'm still baffled how you can sing and play drums at the same time. It baffles me. But Robbie Robertson, one of the greatest guitarists of all time, probably an underrated guitarist in my opinion.
Yeah, that's definitely underrated. Absolutely.
But yeah. Anyway, I remember the first time we went to the Lunchbox new location. I got the Japanese pressing of Music from Big Pink, and boy, howdy, does this sound sweet.
Did I find that for you and hand it to you?
You found it for me, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then right afterwards, you said, "Oh, by the way, do you have this one?" So, yeah. And I was like, "No, I've been looking for it." But yeah, I love this band, and to me, these are two of the greatest albums, if not of the '60s, but of all time.
Sure.
They are they are the Sermon on the Mount of Americana music. It's the GOAT in terms of
Music from Big Pink actually inspired this little known band from Britain by the name of the Beatles. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. Yeah. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them, but they were kind of small scale, only played little clubs. Chicks totally didn't dig them. They were one of those little small bands that quite never made it, but you should Google them if you get a chance. But yeah, their name is the Beatles. That's Beatles. Beatles.
Yeah, they have these really great albums that I think a lot of people should really get hooked on.
Yeah, definitely.
Live venues are kind of terrible though. Like it's hard to get past all the screaming girls and
All them
everything.
screaming girls, and yeah, never buy. Guys, there you go. Right, never buy a Beatles bootleg. Just don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it.
I
Just
mean, there are times that you like having screaming girls, but
right, but not when you're listening to your live music. Yeah, it's just one of those things. There's a reason the Beatles stopped touring, guys. They couldn't hear one another play. That's true. They didn't feel as if they were getting any better as a band because they couldn't hear one another. And so they stopped touring to just focus on recording. And so that's the thing. And it's, I don't know. Shit, you can enjoy a show. I don't know. You can enjoy a show without passing out. Damn. But anyway.
Truth be told, I play live records while I'm making love because there's applause.
At the end, there's always applause. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just glaring at me right now. It's like she's just like rolling her eyes and slowly.
When I'm done with you, you don't need applause.
Anyway, that's my wife.
Trust me, guys. I don't know how many of my videos you guys have actually watched. I get worse just by myself. Trust me when I tell you. Yeah. Especially if I had a few cocktails in me. So, yeah. Last video I did, I was literally drinking margaritas. I'm not even going to lie to you. And the person I'm interviewing was making fun of me. I'm like, fuck you, bitch. These are good. But
you blew out your flip-flop because you stepped on a Pop-Top.
Oh, no. Don't do that to me. Dude, you know how much I hate Jimmy Buffett. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Speaking of some...
Don't bash him too much, because since we're in this video, my mom might watch it.
I've told your mom that I hate Jimmy Buffett. I left a few things out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't quite, go into some extreme hyperbole like I usually do. But yeah, not my favorite in this world. Let's just say so. Yeah. But I'll tell you what. Since I got you on, buddy, since we're since we're having a good time, since we've kind of gone off the rails, kind of like I figured we would, as we discussed before we even went on the air.
Going off the rails of a crazy train.
Yeah. So tell all of my lovely subscribers, how'd you get into vinyl, man?
Well, I was always interested in it, like, cause I inherited like old vinyl records, like gospel records and country records from my grandparents. It's pretty interesting because neither of my parents can really carry a tune. My dad can sing pretty well, though, for the most part. He sings in his church choir, but I got most of my musical taste and everything like that from his side of the family, from his mother's side in particular. But they loved music. Like it was either in my family, you were either mechanically inclined or you were musically gifted. And I got the musical gifted part. I love everything about music. And I originally started out collecting CDs, like most folks. I collected like greatest hits compilations just so that I could listen to it in my car. But my dad got me a lead tack one day because he knew that we had old, vinyl records and everything like that. And he's like, you got to, check out some of these records and see how they, sound and everything. And I got to listen to them, listen to some Johnny Cash records and just old country artists that are really great. Marty Robbins, all that. And then it just grew from that. And I just couldn't stop. And when I met you, I really couldn't stop. So if I could say that anybody has inspired me in terms of my vinyl collecting, it's my dad and it's Christopher Joel Henson Jr.
Guilty as charged, man. Yeah. Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, I must admit, I definitely am, because I remember when we met, we first started, looking at records and everything. I can remember you had some, you were into it, but I was a full-blown junkie.
Yeah.
And because I was a full-blown junkie, I took you right along with me, and now here we both are. But
and you would agree that like the collection that I had before
yeah,
it was actually pretty good. My thing was I was starting out, and I suggest this for any vinyl collector who starts out. Look at Rolling Stone magazine's 500 greatest albums of all time and start from there. Look at that collection, because they actually have really great selections on that list. Now, are there some albums on that list that I feel like can be in different places? Yes.
Sure.
But, you know,
there's that, and I wish that they would have left some of the comps off the list.
Yeah.
Because it's 500 greatest albums, and so when you start throwing in comps, it's like, okay, are these comps great? Sure, they are, but they're not albums. So, it's still a great start.
Yeah, but you and I have had this conversation before. I will say there are those compilations that have really, shown the true essence of what the artist is. For example, Portrait of a Legend by Sam Cooke. I mean,
yeah, sure.
I'll even show you another one. Like I tell people all the time that I'm a country guy.
Legend by Bob Marley. That's a great one.
Yeah. Oh, Legend by Bob Marley. Like, fantastic. Yeah, that was actually one of my first records that I, owned.
Yeah.
But let's see here. I actually bought this from a seller on Discogs last year. I think that if you're going to have any country compilation album, Hank Williams, 40 Greatest Hits. Like, I mean, seriously, like, Hank, there's a reason why they call him the Hillbilly Shakespeare. Like, this man wrote pure poetry. Like, when you listen to something like a song like I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, it digs deep into your soul. And I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, but that's how it all started. I basically looked at Rolling Stone Mag's 500 greatest albums, and then I went from there. It was actually Chris who got me hooked on jazz, and it's actually a funny story, and he knows where I'm going with this. I always felt that jazz was too sophisticated for someone like me. And then I noticed that Chris listened to it, and I was like, well, it can't be that sophisticated.
I mean, I thought I was too sophisticated for you, but here we are.
Yeah, good point.
Katie, you should have probably trusted your first instinct.
But he's so sweet and sings.
He is.
Okay.
He is, and he's pretty too. So there's that. He
really.
Yeah,
he's so pretty.
He really is.
He's such a good Chippendales dancer.
Okay, that's enough.
Well, no, because I have to pay Chippendale dancers, and he's been doing it for me for free for all these years. I don't expect to start paying now.
He could make more money than he makes now doing that, and I would support him.
Sure.
I would support your decision.
But would the rest of my
I
family
still expect my freebies, though, bitch.
That's the key.
I still expect my freebies, though.
Would my Southern Baptist father agree with that? I don't know.
Well, let's make sure your Southern Baptist father doesn't see this video. How about that? I love your dad. I'd just assume he not see this video.
For those of you who don't know, my dad is like slightly more hardcore Ned Flanders.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah,
but
very
he really is that nice, though.
He is.
He is the sweetest man.
But
he really,
and like
the apple didn't fall very far from the tree. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I will admit that if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have much of a taste in the arts in terms of music, movies, all this pop culture stuff that I have in my head is partly because of him. Like I grew up watching Mel Brooks movies like Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles with him. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's many guys who are watching this video right now. It's like, wow, that sounds like my dad. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's, and one of, and I think most fathers pass on to their sons specifically is a CCR tape. So yeah, y'all always got to pass on that credence.
Right, especially here in the South. Y'all already know how that is.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who aren't from below the Mason-Dixon, if you ever get invited to a cookout by one of us good old boys, like the two that you see sitting here in front of you, chances are there's going to be some CCR cranked up at that cookout. Let me just go ahead.
There's going to be CCR, Alabama, Skinner, everything in between.
Absolutely, Journey. But I'll just let you know, the Eagles. Just to let you guys know, for my northern friends, if you want to invite, because I've noticed something, for my northern friends, for a northern person, every cookout is a barbecue. Okay, all right. When you invite one of your southern friends, it's only a barbecue if you're serving barbecue. If you ain't serving barbecue, it's a cookout. Just to let you guys know, if you invite one of the good old boys like the ones in front of you to a barbecue, we got our old T-shirts on. We expecting to eat some ribs. We expecting to get dirty. So when we show up and we see hamburgers on the grill, y'all don't piss us off.
Oh,
just to let y'all know, in the South,
I better see a damn rack of ribs on that thing.
Yes, sir. In the South, unless you're serving barbecue, it is not a barbecue. Anyway, I just figured to go ahead and throw that out real quick because I have been invited to a cookout before by a northern friend and had them tell me it was a barbecue, and I go expecting to eat ribs and pork and everything else, and I get there and they're cooking burgers. It's like, what the fuck?
But yeah, I get my love for
what happened.
I get my love for music, honest, and that's not to take anything away from my mom. My mom, if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have got my 2 guitars and my guitar lessons. So she helped funded a lot of my stuff, and I got a lot of my taste for the Beatles and Beach Boys and Fleetwood Mac from my mom. My mom loved all those bands of the 70s. She's just not as as interested in it as I am, but I am thankful that I've got parents who instilled this love of the art.
Since you brought up the Beach Boys, one of the 45s that I got from my parents is a song that I've known the words to since I was 4 or 5 years old. Is God Only Knows, because my mom and dad had the God Only Knows 45, which for those of you who don't know what God Only Knows by the Beach Boys is, then
God only knows what I'd be without you.
Yeah, it's just one of the most.
God only knows.
All right, it's one of the most beautiful compositions ever written, and so that's 45 that I have from my parents.
It's still hard for me to try to find the chords for that on my guitar. It like Brian Wilson is just a major genius that
sure.
I can't fathom his musical intellect.
I'll tell you this, though, isn't it? And to me, it's fascinating, and you might disagree. Some people do. Most people don't. I think it's fascinating to me that they put out the masterpiece that is Pet Sounds. Undeniable. One of the greatest albums ever made ever. And they never came close to approaching it ever again artistically, ever.
Yeah.
They had some good albums. Wild Honey's a good album. I mean, they had some good albums.
It Smiles a good one too.
Right, but it ain't anywhere close to what Pet Sounds was. It's not like the Beatles that have you can make an argument for 6 or 7 albums as their best album. Or like Led Zeppelin, where you can make an argument for 6 or 7 of their albums as their best album. For the Beach Boys, it's Pet Sounds. And if you say anything other than Pet Sounds, you are either A, trying to be trendy, or B, you're tone deaf. It's one of the two.
I think a lot of it has to contribute to the fact that Brian Wilson, when he had his episode and he went mentally what's the word, like when he had his mental episode at that time, you could probably say it equivalent to the time that Jordan let to go play baseball. I mean, there's just some circumstances that say, oh, what could have been? You know, I mean, who knows?
2 more Bulls championships.
Yeah. Brian could have definitely wrote probably more epic pieces, masterpieces.
It'd have been 2 more Bulls championships. Yeah.
And that's why sometimes it's dangerous to think about, like put in what if scenarios,
Sure.
because you feel like you missed out. Like this is a cool pop culture note. Back in I believe it was 68 or 69, there was a plan to make a Lord of the Rings film.
Started the Beatles, yeah.
Starring the Beatles, directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Uh-huh.
And Stanley Kubrick decided not to do it because he said it would be unfilmable. Like, we don't have the technology to, make orcs and elves and all this shit. But I still think we kind of miss out seeing something like that, because Paul was supposed to play Frodo. Ringo was supposed to play Samwise. George was supposed to play Gandalf, and John was supposed to play Gollum.
Mm-hmm.
We miss out not seeing that, because you just know for a fact the dialogue would go something like this. It's like, yeah, I want your ring. Give me a ring. Pretty, pretty ring. No, you can't have it. It's mine. Hey, let's go throw this ring in the mountain. All right, Sam, let's go do it. And then you have George be like, now wait just a bloody minute. I'm a wizard and I'll cast a bloody spell on you. All right, you can come along with us. And John's like, no, I want your ring. Your ring. Pretty, pretty ring. Man, we miss out on that, dude.
Who would Yoko have played?
Sauron, the Eye.
Oh my God!
I don't know. Maybe one of the orcs. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that's it. Seems legit.
Yeah.
I have to interrupt this video for a very, very, very important segue. A very important segment, and the segment goes something along the lines of, "I'm out of beer. Give me 1 second."
That's okay, because we have kitties.
No need to cut it. I do it at least once in every video I do.
The boys wanted to come be close to Josh.
Oh, sweet.
My wife had the need to show the cats.
The orange and white one is Remy Gambit LeBeau Birch, and the black and white one is Kurt Nightcrawler Wagner Birch.
And Rogue Marie Birch is here somewhere. Oh, she's right there into the.
Yeah, she's under.
So guys, I can't help but notice that your cats are not practicing social distancing, and so I've got to let you guys know that's very irresponsible on your part.
Those cats sleep on top of us at night. There is no social distancing in this household.
Well, in the words of the great Debbie Downer from SNL, we do know that feline AIDS is the leading cause of death in cats.
Meow, meow, meow. This is why our cats are vaccinated for it, because I had a cat in childhood that died from that. And I don't want to go through that again, because it was heartbreaking. He was
not to mention, you guys heard about the tigers in the Bronx Zoo, right? That tested positive for that.
Cats in New York.
Yeah.
I can't help but think this would not happen if
tigers can get that wrong. Kitty cats can get that wrong. Just saying.
I can't help but think this would not happen if Joe Exotic was in jail.
Fucking Tiger King.
At least one thing that they think from the domestic cat, the 2 domestic cats that got it, is that both of them had some pre-existing respiratory things. So at least there's that. Like our cats, even if we brought it home on our shoes, would probably be fine. But like my parents both having the coronavirus at the same time and their cat sleeping on their bed with them, and she's 15 years old. A little concerned about that, but she's doing fine so far.
Yeah. Cat's got that Rona. I'm just saying. And then not to mention, as you guys know my fat kitty cat, Max. He's already diabetic and asthmatic. So he already coughs and hacks up a lung, as you know. So now I've made a little joke out of it. And sorry, guys, I don't mean to be making light of a situation that we've all gone through. But every time he coughs now, I look at Ashley like, oh, shit, baby, he got that Rona. Literally in this video, guys, just so you know, for any of you guys who think that I'm being insensitive by making these jokes, I'm literally talking to two people. Kate on that end, both of her parents experienced the coronavirus, aired it right down the barrel, beat it back, did it with a sense of humor, did it with a smile on their faces. They're great people, everything, and we can all still laugh about it. It's just one of those deals where, I mean, what do you do?
And in all honesty, I know this may sound like a cliche, but sometimes, laughter can be the best medicine. Right. I hide behind humor all the time, it's with a face like this, but anyway, but yeah, like they are doing a lot better. And that's a blessing for us to know. And like I said, we can all, take, solace in that. So.
Absolutely. I mean, humor really, to me, humor is always basically the best medicine anyway.
Yes.
I don't know. Every now and then, if you're feeling too frustrated or too upset to just go on, fuck it, just find something stupid to laugh about. I mean, it's just.
But we do have another problem, man.
Mm-hmm. You're out of beer?
I'm out of beer as well.
Well, you need to go get another one, bro. I mean, what the hell? Yeah. I mean, chop. Jump on it. A B-double-E-double-R-U-N beer run. A B-double-E-double-R-U-N beer run. All we need is tail in the pot and D-double-E and the sober driver. B-double-E-double-R-U-N beer run.
I know Kate's going to want to share this one. Might as well use my special glass.
Oh, your special glass. Is it a stout or a porter, though?
It's a stout.
Oh, it is? Okay, because some of the other ones we have are porters.
Oh, shoot.
What?
It's a lot of fizz. Hang on. Give it a minute.
Josh, don't pour the rest of it in there. Let the head go down before you drink it.
That's what she said.
That would be the opposite, actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah, exactly. It would absolutely be the opposite.
So, this is Southern Range Brewery. It is a cookie dough imperial stout.
Mm-hmm.
And it is delicious.
I had it on tap.
And I have a glass that my beautiful in-laws gave me from Oyster House Brewing Company in Asheville, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, last call for drinks. I'll have another stout. Tom Waits.
Nice.
Another one of my favorite musicians of all time. One of my favorite songwriters, just like classic artists.
Well, I know Kate loves his voice.
Oh yeah, Kate can't get enough of his voice.
Yeah, I know that.
And I say that very, very sarcastically.
Very sarcastically.
She loves his songs. She thinks he's a great songwriter. Not a big fan of his voice.
Yeah, she probably feels about Tom the way that my wife feels about Bob Dylan. Because I don't know if she's ever actually even heard Tom Waits. Because I know if she don't like Bob Dylan, she ain't gonna like Tom Waits.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but your wife once said that Bob should write the songs, his son Jacob should sing them.
I was getting there. Yeah, you took that one. We're listening to the radio one day. My wife, guys, I've been called many things in terms of my listening taste, a snob, all kinds of other things because of what I listen to. and that's fine. You know, those people who know me know what it's about, and those who don't, well, fine, I don't care. I ain't trying to appeal to you anyway. But anyway, for my wife loves her 90s and 2000s alternative, yeah, she loves it. And so she loves the Wallflowers, and which is fine because I love the Wallflowers as well. But I can
Come on, baby, drive a little. Nothing lasts forever. Got to be something better than in the middle.
Me and Cinderella, put it all
Together, we can drive it home. We one headlight.
Yeah, and so we're driving up the road one day, and that song comes on, and she turns it up. And I used it. I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. I'm going to bust her balls. And so I was like, you know who's singing that song, right? And she's like, yes, the Wallflowers. And looking at me like I'm stupid. I was like, you know who the lead singer of the Wallflowers is, right? And she was like, well, no. I'm like, well, it's Jacob Dylan, Bob Dylan's son, right? And she was like, he sings way better than his dad. And I'm like, he sounds like his dad. What are you talking about? Jacob sounds an insane amount like Bob.
Yeah,
he's
he's
like,
got one of those mannerisms.
Right. She's like, I disagree. She goes, I'm like, well, what do you think about Bob? And she goes, hell, he wrote great songs. He should have wrote them and Jacob should have sang them.
Damn.
Like, oh my God, whatever. But basically the only Bob Dylan album I've been able to play with my wife that she's been like, okay, this is pretty good, is Nashville Skyline. So yeah, and she digs National Skyline, and she's like, why didn't he always sing like that? I'm like, because it's Bob Dylan. He didn't always do anything.
I really want to get the new bootleg series with him and Johnny Cash. Like,
yeah, me too. I want to get that too. Yeah,
I bet that'd be so good. But yeah, like my favorite Bob Dylan record. Since we're on the subject of Bob Dylan,
show us a record, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Here we go. Back to my love for the band, Planet Waves, which is weird. Most people don't usually say this, but you know, I'm a weird individual. So it is a beautiful record. Like, and of course the centerpiece of the album is Forever Young. It's a beautiful song, and you of all people should know.
It took on another meaning for me after I became a dad. Absolutely. Yeah. I always loved the song and always thought it was beautiful, but I remember the first time I heard it after I became a dad, I can remember just bawling. Yeah. It just took on. Yeah.
Did you? And I think I might have told you this before, but if our audience never heard it before, when he recorded that in the studio, there was a spectator, a fan, who actually said, damn, Bob, like getting all sentimental on us all here lately. And Bob was like, you know what? Take it out. Luckily, great producer, who was on site said, no, we got to keep that, man. That is
that's a masterpiece, bro.
Well, here's the thing. If Like a Rolling Stone is his masterpiece, Forever Young is his anthem. Like, I look at it that way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love that record. It is a good one.
I think you're the only person I've ever known that actually named that as their favorite Dylan record, but it's definitely a very underrated one.
It is an underrated one. I completely agree.
But he's another one of those artists where you could name 10, 12, 13 albums as your favorite, and then nobody can really put up too much of an argument with you.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like, with the Beatles or the Stones. Like, there's just some artists that have those records that will be in, like, top 20 countdowns for the rest of, the ages.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, even Bruce Springsteen's Tunnel of Love is a great album. And that's his, if you ask most fans, that's his least popular of them. It's still a great album.
But if you ask Rolling Stone magazine, it could be an album of him reading a phone book while taking a dump in a muddled gas station, and 5 stars, masterpiece.
I remember just taking a shit out on the Jersey Turnpike, and it was just great times, Just me and my 57 Chevrolet, and I just had too much Del Taco, and I just had to go south for the border. It's my Springsteen impersonation.
I hear you, man.
I love Springsteen, man. Like, I mean, and most Southerners usually don't say it, but like, really, he's a working class hero, dude. Like, I mean, like if I could say this, like, he was the next coming of Bob Dylan. Like, when Bob Dylan was in his off phase in the 80s, Bruce Springsteen filled for that, being the true American songwriter performer.
Absolutely. Hey, what? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Do you remember the first record you ever bought from a record store?
First record I ever bought from a record store. I think I do, but
okay.
it kind of doesn't count because the first record store, I guess you could say it was considered a record store because it sold records, but it also sold instruments.
Woody's Music.
Was Woody's Music in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And
it counts. They sold records. That's good enough.
Yeah. And I actually have it here. And you know how much I feel about this record coming up. It truly is it's a beautiful record, and it means a lot to me. And I want to make sure people really see it, so I'll take off the plastic. But
yeah. No further comment needed. Yeah.
I mean, well, it's one of the greatest concept albums of all time.
Absolutely.
I love Willie Nelson. Like I will love.
Everybody loves Willie Nelson.
I don't see how anybody with a heart can not like Willie Nelson. There's got to be at least one song that you like, and he's just such a. He's a redneck hippie. He's like the coolest thing that you could possibly think of. Like, I think scientists in a lab like created him. And like, let's try to think of somebody like who could be really, really likable. Like somebody likable where if he got in trouble with the IRS, his fans will help him out when the IRS is trying to take all his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything about this album, it's like a Western movie put inside a record.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's what I love about it. And even the beautiful art on the back,
mm-hmm.
my comic book loving ass loves it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, and I love the story about how this was made. Like, sometimes, like, that's what's beautiful about, albums when they're being made, is the story about how they were made. When Willie Nelson made it, it was just basically him and a guitar and maybe his harmonica player, Mickey Raphael.
Right, yeah.
And when he showed it to the record executives and everything like that, they said, man, this is the worst demo that I've ever heard in my life. And luckily, Waylon goddamn Jennings was there and said, yeah, well, you're a 10-eared, tone-deaf son of a bitch if you don't get this record mass-produced. God bless Waylon Jennings, man. Like, and luckily they released it. You know what? Fine, we'll release it. And if it doesn't sell, he's gonna make sure that he lives by what we have to say for the next record. It released. And it sold millions and millions and millions of copies. And from then on out, nobody messed with Willie Nelson again.
Wow.
And even the executive, the music executive sent a letter to Waylon Jennings saying, you know what? You were right. Sincerely, a 10-eared, tone-deaf son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We
then-
all know the greatest decision of Willie's career was leaving Nashville. I mean, everybody knows that.
Yeah, I mean, like, and he had a really a good thing going. He was a well-established songwriter and everything like that. He wrote for Patsy Cline, for God's sake.
Absolutely, and even the albums that he put out while he was in Nashville were still good albums, but they're not. They ain't what it was when he went back to Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, no, that's that shit.
But yeah, I and when I got that record and I brought it up to the thing, like the guy's like, "Oh man, I love this record," and I was like, "Yeah, man, it's just beautiful." And then not too long after, he made Stardust, which is another great record. Like, stayed on the Billboard charts for 200 weeks. It just, and that was unheard of at that time.
What would you consider your second favorite Willie album? I got mine. Because everybody's favorite is going to be Redheaded Stranger.
Yeah, everybody's favorite is going to be Redheaded Stranger. I love Shotgun Willie.
Shotgun Willie's my second favorite, yeah.
Yeah, I love Shotgun Willie. And I tell you what, he's cranking a lot of good albums out lately. His album Heroes that he did with his kids and a few other people, it's really good. It actually featured his.
I agree.
What's that?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I think you're freezing up on me. Hang on.
You got me?
Yeah. I think I do. Yeah.
Oh, I need to plug the computer and I'm down to 13%.
All right, you want to go ahead? I saw that. Yeah, Kate's just got to plug in the computer real quick.
Also, Chris, you lied to me. You know what time it is right now, Chris?
No.
Nope.
It's midnight, Chris. You lied to me.
I warned you going in that this might go off the rails.
Like a crazy train. But yeah. Probably Shotgun Willie, and I've got countless others. To me, he never made a bad record.
No, hell no. No chance.
Even his reggae album was good. That's saying something.
And hip hop artists love Willie. Everybody loves Willie. Yeah, everybody loves Willie.
I got a question for you. What's your favorite record? What's the last record that you truly love that you got from a record store?
Oh, okay. I mean, are we talking about original pressings? Are we talking about reissues? What are we talking about?
Well, you know how I love those OG pressings, and I know how much you love those OG pressings.
All right, give me a second. Because I know you remember one of the last times we were able to go digging with one another was Black Friday RSD. And we got some killer shit that day. I mean, we spent
a lot of the same stuff.
A lot of the same stuff, but we spent a lot of money that day. And thank God we're married to good women. That's all I'm going to say, because a lot of men wouldn't have been able to return with their bank accounts that slim and been able to sleep in the same bed that night. I'm just going to tell you, we spent a lot of money that day. But I don't know. So there's that Monk 5x5. I mean, hell, I got it. Let me see. Damn, I got a lot of Monk records.
Yeah.
Shit's taking forever.
There's no such thing as too much Monk records.
Very true. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But got a bunch of good stuff that day. But I tell you what, one that I'll just go ahead and pull. Josh got the same record that exact same day.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, if you've got yours and you can get to it quickly, why not?
Yeah.
Monk 5x5, 5x Monk by 5. Riverside, mine's an original mono press. You guys know how I wagon wheel. There it is. There's Josh's original stereo press. Riverside. That very same day, we both got Bill Evans Undercurrent. I got an original mono press. Josh got a MoFi. And so, yeah, that's a great day. So if I can think of like the question, that was a great question, by the way. Yeah. But the last one that I can think of, OG Press, that I truly love, that I got from a record store. I was so happy to walk out of Noble Records with this one that day, Black Friday RSD.
I think I had pulled the stereo of that one, and you were like, ugh. And then we went to the front desk, and Dylan was like, I knew you'd had that reaction. That's why I had this one behind the desk.
Right. And here's the thing is everybody knows this anyway, but Dylan's got a soft spot for me, especially for my jazz, as you guys know. Yeah. And there's a lot of times he gets jazz records that he wants to keep. And then if I mention I want them, I get them. And that's the thing is I don't want to take the man's records if he wants them. But here's another thing is at the same time, he's got a business to run. So, but yeah, I had like mentioned it to him. I'm like, oh shit, dude. And he was like, oh, he goes, you don't have that one? Which let me know immediately that was one he was thinking about keeping. Right. And I was like, no, man, I don't. But if you want to keep it, he was like, no, man, I'll sell it to you, whatever. And so that's just, but yeah, that was a good day. It feels like it was only 4 or 5 months ago, but it feels like it was forever ago because that Rona fucked everything up. But anyway, go ahead.
Same question that I asked you. For me, it was also from Noble Records. I've actually got two. That was some of my favorite records that I've gotten. First and foremost, there's this one.
Oh my God, yeah. If you'd have passed on that, I'd have beat you. I'm just going to let you know.
Yeah, I could not turn that out. I looked at it. I was actually with my brother-in-law, Matt, and saw that, and I was like, yeah, I got a Tonto jump on that mother.
Yeah, you can't pass on that one.
And then...
And he had a great price on it, too.
Yeah. And then, boom.
Yeah. When you told me what you got that for, it was just... I texted Dylan, and I was like, man, I hate you. Like, really, man? Yeah, for those of you watching, you can take an original pressing of Maggot Brain. You could pour gasoline on it, toss it out in a field, run a lawnmower over top of it, set it on fire, and still get $50 for it. This son bitch on the other side of this video right here got this motherfucker for $40 in VG Plus.
40.
Yeah. And I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, he totally did that. So congratulations.
Well, if this pandemic ever turns into any Mad Max shit, I'm probably gonna be ransacked by the local vinyl community. So I know that. It's like, what a day. What a lovely day.
Well, ain't nobody came from my collection yet. And I made it abundantly clear to everybody that I have a gun in this room. But
as do I.
And this bitch is loaded, just to let y'all know. But anyway, here's something I'd be interested of because I don't even know whether or not I even know the answer. When you tell me the answer, I'm probably going to know, like, yeah, sure, I knew that was the answer. Do you have a favorite record in your collection? And I'm not talking about so much a favorite album in your collection because I believe I could probably guess that one in 3 or 4 guesses. Yeah. But I'm talking about just a favorite record, like something that's just so rare you can't believe you got it, or just something, just one of those type deals.
Well, it's probably that Funkadelic record, no doubt. I listened to it, and when you listen to that first track,
Dude, that guitar lick, are you kidding me? That's insane.
And that's why I tell people all the time, Eddie Hazel is one of the most underrated guitarists of all time. If you don't believe me, listen to that track. It is phenomenal. Like, and I actually read up on it, how he came up with that lick. George Clinton, the leader of Parliament Funkadelic, told him, look, dude, your mom just died, and I want you to play it like she died, and then you found out she was alive. Like within 6 minutes or however long the song was.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, he came up with that just like on the spot, just based on a pure emotion.
Yeah.
God.
And it comes across that way though, dude. That man owns that shit. It's just the very first time I can point to certain songs or certain moments or certain riffs or whatever throughout my life or in a song or whatever that I can just think that that's the moment when I was just like, and for me, that's one of them. The first time I heard "A Love Supreme" by John Coltrane, same thing. That's the moment jazz made sense to me because I had tried it before and it was like, okay, this is all right. And it never really just hit me until I heard "A Love Supreme." And then I heard "A Love Supreme" and it's just like, oh man, I need all the jazz. I don't just need some of the jazz, I need all the jazz. So it just made sense to me.
If you're going based on a record that has a lot of sentimental value to me, I'll show you one that's really sentimental. One of the people that I truly bonded over, that I met through Kate, was her grandfather, Tom Weaver.
Yeah.
And he didn't like, if he liked you, he liked you. If he didn't like you, oh, he'd let you know in a heartbeat. But when he met me, he felt, well, I feel very comfortable with you. He called me that long-legged guitar picker after a Johnny Cash song. And, after he passed, Kate's grandmother, his wife, gave me their record collection. And one of those was Johnny Cash's Orange Blossom Special. And it just brought me back to, because he actually was a truck driver, and one time he actually was in Nashville, and he just waited in line just to shake Johnny Cash's hand. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing we always bonded over, was our love for, country music, specifically Johnny Cash. I mean, there's a reason why I have a tattoo of Johnny Cash on my arm here. But that means a lot to me, and I treasure this record forever because of that. And also, I got a copy of, an original copy of Folsom Prison Blues that my dad gave me too, and that was one of the first records that I ever gotten too. So I found that sentimental as well.
Greatest country music album of all time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That and Redheaded.
You're gonna say Redheaded Stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. But man, dude, Folsom Prison that's pure magic. That's
one of the greatest live records of all time.
Yeah, that's just magic. That's an essential album. That's an album. And I tell people all the time, I'm not one that tells everybody what they should have in your collection. But if you don't have a copy of Folsom Prison Blues, if you don't have that live at Folsom Prison, if you don't have it, you got to get that. You just got to have a copy. It's just, and then if you don't like it, lie to me and tell me that you do, because if you tell me you don't, I'm going to judge you to your face. Yeah. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's magic. It is just a magical record. It's just transcendent. It's life altering. And so, yeah, I'd highly recommend it to anybody. But do you have a band or an artist that you don't own the entire discography of that you'd like to?
Well, there's just some bands that, they always have that one record that, really
all of them. Yeah.
And I guess I'm not a completist like that, because I want the records that are really good.
Absolutely. I feel the same way.
I guess I never really thought about that. I guess if I do, like, it's probably Bruce Springsteen, because to me, Bruce Springsteen, like, never made a bad record. And I think I don't have his first record. I don't have I don't have Asbury Park. Uh, uh, and I know I'm missing another Springsteen album. I can't think of it. It might be Tunnel of Love. But yeah, I have, the E Street Shuffle, Born to Run, Darkness on the Edge of Town.
That's my favorite one.
Oh yeah, I love that one too. That's probably my favorite. Either that one or The River, which I also have.
The River.
And Nebraska. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just listening to it the other day. That's why it's sitting right here.
Yeah, man. It's like, that's great double LP. Great double LP.
Absolutely. And it's got my favorite Springsteen song of all time on it. So,
which one's that? Hungry Heart?
Hungry Heart.
Hungry Heart. Yeah, because it doesn't really sound like Springsteen. Like,
no, it doesn't. And it's so good. And it's like, damn, Bruce should have did that.
I always felt it was weird because it sounds like somebody completely different on that particular song, because it doesn't have the growl that Springsteen has.
Yeah, and it's like, man, this guy could have made a whole career just doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've always loved Hungry Heart. For A, because it's a great song, and B, because it just doesn't really sound like anything else he really did, and it's still great. So it's just, I've always had a pretty soft spot.
Yeah.
In my heart for that one. But I'll tell you what. How many records would you say you have in your collection?
Kate would probably say, like, oh, too much for this small apartment.
Correction. You see the shelf behind him? What I said was, you can fill up this shelf. While we live here, you can fill up this shelf, because this is all the room we have. So once you fill up this shelf, then you have too many.
And that's just as long as you guys live where you currently live.
Correct.
Right. My wife, for those of you.
Then we get another shelf. And then you can fill up the next shelf, but not until we get the next shelf.
Okay.
Yeah. For those of you
I had to say how many records if I had to say how many records I'd have, it might be 500. I don't know. I've never really actually took the time to count. But yeah, I don't know.
Got more than 500.
Possibly. Well, I mean, like, we got this row.
Mm-hmm.
I got these doors here, so I've got, because like I probably will get to a point where I look at the records, like, do I really listen to this one?
You'll get there.
I'll probably get at that point, but
you'll get there.
But and you're probably right. I probably do have 500. I just never had time to, take in inventory.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say you got between 750 and 1,000. That's if I had.
Yeah, that's probably sounds about right, because I've still got records over at my dad's house. So
right. Well, that I kind of feel like I've been with you when you bought at least a few hundred.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have bought at least a few hundred together. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. So yeah, I mean, but the longer we've gotten into it, the longer we've been collecting, the more that we just buy the ones that we really, really, truly just like the killer, And this is any of you newbies, if you're a new collector that is watching this, some advice that I would give to you: don't buy every record that's cheap. Don't buy every record you ever put your hands on just because it's $2. Don't. Try to start out from the very beginning. Just buy what you like.
Well, if I may add on to that, don't buy it if it's $2. But if you know for a fact that it's a rare record and they're completely underselling it,
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, don't be afraid to check Discogs every now and again, but don't be that guy that constantly checks Discogs.
Yeah, don't Discogs. Don't Discogs an '80s reissue of Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Okay, just pay the $10. It's okay.
Oh, Discogs, Herb Albert, and the Tijuana Brass.
Don't.
It's a nice album, but it's not worth that much.
Don't do that. Just pay your $3 or $4 and get over it. Yeah, it's just one of the. Yeah, I mean, because I've noticed this every time I ever work at Noble Records, there's always somebody every day that will sit on one of those couches with a stack and will Discogs every single record in the stack, and they'll just sit there and Discogs. Now, if you got yourself a really rare record that you ain't never seen before, and you want to know whether or not that price fair or not, sure, that's appropriate. That's appropriate. Yeah. But if it's got $7 on it and you don't like it enough to pay that $7, then put it back. That's just my.
And let me tell you this, and Chris will know where I'm going with this. To any record store owner out there, just because you have an original copy of Miles Davis, A Kind of Blue, does not mean you should be able to price it at $300.
Jesus Christ. The day you texted me that, I won't put this record store on blast because I don't like to be that guy, guys.
We won't say the name of the record store.
Right. But Josh is and Kate are vacationing in the Smoky Mountains in North Carolina. And they come to this store and they find a copy of my Kind of Blue, original mono, right? Wasn't it? Yeah. And Josh had texted it to me, and I knew at the time, he didn't have a copy of Kind of Blue. So I just immediately texted back, dude, buy it, right? And he's like, I don't know, dude. They've got $300 on it. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. No way. No. It's one of the highest selling jazz albums of all time. It's the Sergeant Pepper of jazz records. There's no way they've got $300 on it. Is it autographed? Did Miles Davis do coke off of it in the 60s? I mean, what in the hell is going on here? I'm like, no, it's an original mono pressing. And he told me the store that he was at. And I was like, oh, yeah, I heard they had a knack for overpricing their records.
Yeah.
But I'll grab mine real quick just to give this some context. Basically, the one of the rarest copies, or maybe the rarest copy that you can come across of Kind of Blue, is the original mono pressing that I'm holding in my hand with the misspelling on the cover. And the misspelling on the cover, for those of you who don't know, is they misspelled Julian Cannonball Adderley's name right there at the top. It's spelled Adderley. They left out an E. It's Adderley. So it's a misprint. And there's a whole run of misprints of this album. So if you have one of these are one of the rarer pressings of this album. This is hard to find. I paid $40 for it.
Yeah.
40. Not 300. 40. So now granted, this album was going for way more than that. But that being said,
look, I can understand if you pay like maybe 60, maybe 65 for it. But I mean, still, I mean it. Like you just said, it is the Sgt. Pepper's of jazz albums.
If you would have found this for 300, I would have told you that was fair.
Yeah.
You find that for 300, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair. You're gonna have a hard time ever seeing that.
Or if you found this for 300.
Dude, you found that one for 40. So, yeah. I'm gonna break into your house tonight and steal it. I hope you ain't got that Rona. But anyway.
I love you, Dylan.
All right. So, Katie, if you're watching still, you have my permission to edit this next part out. I'm old. I have an old man's bladder. I've been drinking beer. I have to pee. I will return. Thank you.
Don't edit it out.
Hello, everyone. It is past my bedtime.
And she's drinking beer.
It's not helping me stay awake.
What are you drinking?
It is now 12:30
You're still drinking?
a.m.
You're still drinking the porter?
Mm-hmm.
This is how she feels right now.
Do I look like I have that much energy? No.
Oh, looks like she's got a migraine though.
I do not have one of those.
Okay, that's good.
We would not be doing this right now if I had one of those.
Oh yeah. I know.
But your kitties are all sleeping. Look at those babies. All right. So we're moving into hour 2. Just so that you guys know, it is now hour 2 of the video.
Right, I know.
2 hours past my bedtime.
All right, so this is what we're getting ready to do then. And you can feel free to edit any of this out as you see fit, because I see that's going to be necessary.
Honestly, I think this is fun.
Oh, this is a blast. It really is. I warned you. I warned you. I knew this was going to go off the rails. I did. And even after we wrap this video up, if Katie wants to go to bed and Josh, you still want to shoot the shit, or you want to watch a movie or whatever, we'll watch a movie, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I'll tell you what, this is what we're going to do. If you guys are still up for it, you want to play one more song?
Yeah, we'll do one more song.
Yeah, do one more song. Give me 1 second. Kate, again, you can edit all of this out if you want. Not all of this, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's whatever you want on your video, man.
Well, if you have a wardrobe malfunction, I don't know. I think we should probably keep that.
Who had a wardrobe malfunction?
No, I'm just saying, if you had a wardrobe malfunction, I think we'll keep that. It might boost up your, followers.
Well, it depends on which one of my assets it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows I have a great ass. So if that happens, then
Yeah, show your great ass.
yeah. So I mean, that'll probably boost up my ratings.
Yeah.
If it's the opposite end, I mean, hey, I'm a white boy, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But it's above average per white standards.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kate, feel free to edit out as much of that as you want. Or if you just want to embarrass the fuck out of us, that's fine too. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
But guys, it's been a pleasure to have you both on. I love you both. I miss you both. I can't wait till we're all able to sit in the same damn room and actually have a meal and do all this shit across from each other without worrying about that Rona again. That'd be great. But until that happens, this is what we'll do. We'll do it more often. This won't be the last time I have you guys on. And so to end this video, thank you guys all for watching. Josh and Kate of the Night Train Owls are going to play one more song for us. Take it away, you guys.
This goes out to all the people out there who are just trying to get through this crisis. Just to let you all know, we're all in this thing together. Well, my friend, I see your face so clearly. A little bit tired and worn through the years. Sound nervous, you seem alone. I hardly recognize your voice on the telephone. In between, I remember just before we wound up broken down. Driving out to the edge of the highway, all that lonesome dead-end road sign say. All this thing together, between faith and fear. This life don't last forever. When you cry, taste the salt in your tears. Well, my friend, put this thing together. On the path our worn out feet have trod. If you want it, we could go on forever. Give up your jaded ways and spell your name to God. All this thing together, walking the line between faith and fear. This life don't last forever. When you cry, taste the salt in your tears. All we are is a picture in a mirror. Fancy shoes to grace our feet. All there is, slow road to freedom. Heaven above and the devil beneath. All this thing together, walking the line between faith and fear. This life don't last forever. When you cry, taste the salt in your teeth.
Great stuff, you guys. Thank you so much. I would like to thank my guests, Josh and Kate of the Night Train Owls, for appearing and doing this, oh my God, too long video that went way past Kate's bedtime. For guys like Josh and I, this is normal shit. But for Kate, this is, yeah. So thank you for being a trooper and hanging in there for me and for doing all this. I really appreciate it, you guys. And more so than anything, I love being able to do this for the video, but more so than anything, I just fucking miss you guys, and it was great to see you. So that's been awesome. And to everybody out there, I hope you're all staying strong, staying safe, social distancing when you can. For you essential workers out there, keep doing what you got to do. Wash your damn hands. For everybody out there shopping, don't hoard the damn toilet paper. At the end of the day, the Rona don't care how clean your ass is. It's still going to get you. I'm just letting you know. So stop hoarding it. Let somebody else get a roll, just to let you know.
Just use the shower, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you ain't got enough toilet paper, I mean, hell, wash that shit out. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do, but whatever. Stop hoarding all the damn toilet paper. Support your local businesses when you can. Support your local restaurants. If you got somebody you're quarantining with, and you hadn't really spent enough time getting to know them or anything over the years, or maybe if you felt like you've neglected getting to know them a little bit better or whatever, please do so. It's one of those things where in the everyday grind or whatever, it's easy to just come home tired as hell and not ask that question or not put in that time with somebody. So do that. You're locked in the fucking house with somebody for 2 weeks to a month. You might as well fucking get to know them. And if you don't want to get to know them, then you might as well leave them, okay? Because this is the ultimate test that Rona is ever going to give us, okay? So just to let you know. But I love you all. Everybody stay safe. It's your boy Chris, Tunes from the Man Cave, signing out. Thank you, Josh and Kate from Night Train House for coming on. So until next time, until next video, keep dropping that needle, you guys, and stop hoarding that goddamn toilet paper. Out.